So, one of the many great things about YouTube is that you can learn to do anything, literally anything. And one of those things you can learn to do is make games. No matter your programming language, engine, framework, or question, some kind soul on YouTube has almost certainly made a video about it. While those informative videos are useful, my favorite kind of game dev video is the devlog. It's fascinating to see how other indie developers work, and you can learn a lot from observing what tools they use and how they operate. Even more than what you can learn, my absolute favorite thing about indie devlogs is how motivational they are. Anyone who has tried to make games knows what a struggle it can be. Grand plans for your dream game quickly crash into the realities of programming, art, music, and time management. So watching an indie devlog and seeing someone else overcoming these obstacles is hugely motivating. But something that puts a damper on the motivation I experience from these devlogs is when, after watching a couple videos from the same person, you realize that while yes, this person is an indie dev, they aren't quite in the same position as me. For example, maybe they're a software developer at their day job. That gives them a huge leg up when it comes to the programming side of game dev. Or maybe they're a naturally talented freelance artist and they can create beautiful game art and music. Or perhaps they're simply at a place in their lives where they can devote hours a day to their indie game dev journey because they don't have the same family and work responsibility that others might have. I don't say this to put down any of these indie devs. On the contrary, I get great value, motivation, and enjoyment from their devlogs. But there's nothing more enjoyable and motivating than a devlog from an indie dev who comes from a similar experience and deals with similar challenges as me. And so that's where this video and this channel come in. I know I can't be the only one out there like me. And so my goal is to make videos and devlogs to share my experience as someone with no professional programming experience, no artistic ability, no musical ability, and a ton of family and work responsibilities. So, where exactly am I coming from? In terms of programming, I'm entirely self-taught. My day job isn't connected to technology at all, so my only experience programming has been reading books and watching tutorials. I know the basics of what programming is, stuff like if-else statements, loops, variables, and functions, but anything higher level than that, and I start to get lost. On the art side of things, I'm just terrible. I've never had any artistic ability. Like most non-artistic indie game devs, I've embraced pixel art as the art style of choice due to its relative simplistic and forgiving nature. Even then, I can look at a piece of pixel art and try to recreate it myself, but never end up getting anything even close. The same goes for music. The only time in my life I've ever composed music was fooling around with that awesome little composing bit in Mario Paint as a kid. Finally, time management is perhaps my biggest obstacle. I've got a wife, 2 young kids, a full-time job, and a 75-year-old house that needs constant maintenance. My time sitting in front of the computer to work on game dev is almost non-existent. One more bonus thing I want to mention that always kind of demotivates me about a lot of indie devlogs. They're amazing, pristine, fashionable workspaces. Seriously, it seems like every indie game dev sits at a sleek, ultra-modern desk with a giant monitor, nice window view, and just the right amount of greenery. Meanwhile, I'm sitting with 2 decade-old monitors that barely work in a dark basement. So that's where I'm coming from. Like I said before, I'm sure many of you are coming from a similar place. So I look forward to sharing my indie game dev journey with you and really hope that it can be motivating. I'm working on what I consider to be my first real big project that I hope to put out there for others to play. However, as a way to learn, I've been completing game jams. I'll make separate videos to go over my experience with each jam that I've done, namely what I learned, how I did on them in the future. I don't know how long it'll be between videos, so make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when I get my next video out. Thanks so much for watching.